As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Iafrate and Booner. It's Monday, February 9th, coming off the Super Bowl, where we had our watch party, and we witnessed the Seahawks take down the Patriots in more of a dominant fashion, to be honest with you. And today is our first ever of this year, calendar year, Mock Draft Monday. So we have our mock drafts we're going to break down today. We'll talk about the Super Bowl, what the Lions can learn from it. And this is the start. Every week now, every Monday, we'll dive into our mock drafts leading up until the NFL draft. So we have plenty of time. We have the Combine in 2 weeks. So this is the next 2 weeks are going to be like pre-NFL Combine mock drafts, and we'll have post-NFL Combine mock drafts, when we get to see more players there. But it's a big day. It's a big day on Crunch Time Sports. We start our official draft coverage, detailed draft coverage.
Yeah. We do. We get to do mock draft Monday today. Get to release our mock drafts. I'm pumped up for it. Can't wait.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite time of the year, the draft time. Even though, usually for a while there, the Lions were bad, so you were picking higher. This year, you missed the playoffs. So they're actually picking at 17. So it gets interesting. Not that you want that to happen. You'd rather pick last in the first round, but here we are. So we're gonna cover all of that. Like I said, we'll talk about the Seahawks-Patriots game from yesterday. By the way, shout out Kyle, Dog and Pony Show Brewing. We had our Super Bowl party there. Got to do our watch party. Everyone that tuned into that, we appreciate you. You can check out some of the moments, key moments we posted all across every platform, so you can check those out. But congratulations to the Seahawks, man. I mean, you were on the Seahawks, Boone. They're a great team.
Thank you. Good
defense. Even Sam Darnold, we learned something new, and we'll talk more about it. But even Sam Darnold, no turnovers. You didn't have to do anything. Just don't turn the ball over, and they're that good of a team. Even like Kenneth Walker, who honestly in his career hasn't been as good as he was at Michigan State. Won MVP.
Yeah.
Showed up and had a huge day.
I think in the playoffs, just out of nowhere, Kenneth Walker. I mean, he's obviously, we know what a back he is. I see, I think it's Good Boy Juan in the chat saying, I'm going to find the clip before the season. Booner uttered the words, K9 has had an underwhelming career. Now he's a Super Bowl MVP. I mean,
he still has had an underwhelming
statistically, career. His first 2 years, he had 500 yards and I don't know, 900. He never hit 1,000 yards until this season. So, when you talk about a guy like that was, very highly, touted coming out of college, a very good college player, you would have thought he would have been 1,000-yard back. And I don't think anyone this year expected Kenneth Walker to do it. I mean, I think we all knew he had the talent to do what he did. But to go on the run that he did in the postseason, one of the best running back runs, I think. I mean, if you look at his numbers, through the postseason this year, Jeff, the 3 or 4 games leading, all the way up to winning the Super Bowl MVP, it's one of the best running back runs that you'll see in a postseason. It was incredible from him. I'm glad you said it, that I was on the Seahawks all year, so I didn't have to say I told you guys.
Until the last game, which I was disappointed.
Until the last game, yeah. I picked the Patriots, but I have been all year long. And by the way, he had 1,000 his rookie year. I apologize. I missed that 1 year. Sorry, I had 500 after that, and then 900 or 900 and 500. But he's been underwhelming in his career. But shout out to the Seahawks for that. If people want to take a Kenneth Walker victory lap, like everyone going into this year said Kenneth Walker is going to win Super Bowl MVP, and you're trying to dunk on us in the chat, you're an idiot, and you have no clue what you're talking about, because no one knew Kenneth Walker was going to win a Super Bowl MVP in 2025. You're not Houdini. You can't see the future. I don't even know if that's what Houdini does. But let's take a step back. Hey, if you're in the chat, let's take a step back real quick. AG's burner and Get a Boy Juan acting like you've predicted that the world's going to end in 2028 or something. What are we doing?
Walker has had an underwhelming career, considering.
Yeah, what are we talking about here? Some people make me so mad, Jeff. When we get into this, I'm going to clip Booner doing. Shut up, dude. What are we talking about, man?
Even yesterday, I you didn't think Kenneth would have a big game, but I never said he would have a big game. No one thought he would have a game like that.
Dude, no one knew Kenneth Walker was going to Super Bowl MVP this year. Go on the run that he did.
It happens. I guess things are surprised. JSN, who would have thought he did nothing? I mean, he literally,
dude. The thing with JSN, like again, I actually heard someone say this. Like, if you would have told me that JSN would have had 20 yards in the Super Bowl, you probably would be like, yeah, the Seahawks probably lose that game. Like your offensive player of the year has 20 yards in a Super Bowl. You're like, yeah, you're losing. Like, there's just no way. And they didn't. They found a way to win the game, and they dominated that game. Like you said, it was one of those things where it was just like their game plan essentially was we feel like we're the better team, which I actually said before the game. I said Seahawks are obviously the better team. I just thought that the Patriots were going to find like game plan their way around it. And all the Seahawks had to do is just not mess up. Like, just don't mess up. And I thought I even had the bet on there for Sam Darnold interception. I thought Sam Darnold was going to throw a pick. It's like me and you swapped brains for 24 hours. That's essentially what happened. And now all of a sudden I got it back. I don't know how I ran into that one.
Yeah, you're in a blunder today because because you should get credit for the Seahawks, of course. But you get I can't believe it. That's probably one of the more shocking endings of the season. Is Booner was like, no, boys, the Patriots are going to win this thing. And honestly, like, I didn't think it was that like a crazy take. I mean, the Patriots, they're a good team. I was the
only one in that building yesterday that was on the Patriots. The only one.
I don't want, like, I know yesterday it's easy to be like the Patriots are they're not. I think what yesterday showed me from the Patriots side, two things. One, how good of a coach Mike Vrabel is. Just kind of hammered that away again.
Yeah.
And number two, how Drake May is not ready yet. He's not ready. He's still, it's a second year. There's still a lot for him to kind of learn. There was moments in that game where you could tell. So those are the two takeaways from the Patriots side. I mean, they faced not even like, okay, like for example, you look at the playoffs for the Patriots, they face some really good defenses, but offenses that have made mistakes. They faced a team like the Seahawks. They didn't make any mistakes. It's hard to beat a team like that. Like the Seahawks didn't make any mistakes. Like the Texans threw 4 interceptions.
Oh, they didn't. There was opportunities for the Patriots to make plays, and the Patriots just did not.
They didn't make
like I was saying yesterday, they had a couple chances, get their hands on the ball and get a couple turnovers. They just couldn't do it. They just didn't do it. Christian Gonzalez had a couple opportunities, which he played, by the way. Christian Gonzalez played incredible.
He's a star.
Some of the plays that he had, it's shocking. I went back and watched today some of his plays, and like him diving out and getting some of those tips, like the deep one to Rashid Shaheed was insane. The one in the end zone, like. They just did not. They couldn't capitalize. And in this Super Bowl, especially like if you're the underdog, which they were, again, like they weren't favorites. But if you're the underdog, like you have to make a couple game-changing plays, and they just did not do it. And especially when your offense punts the ball like 7 straight times, and the fact that, again, like that's why I was actually confident. And this is going to sound stupid, and I hope you don't take it. If Flannel was in here, Flannel would take it way too literal, and he would get mad. But like, I still feel like I was on the right side because of the fact that they had 7 straight punts and it was still 9-0. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't have predicted 7 straight punts, but what I predicted was a low-scoring game, like a 9-0 game, where I thought if the Patriots and Drake May had 7 possessions, that they would have at least gotten maybe 1, maybe 2 field goals to make it 9-6. Whatever, and they just couldn't. Like, it was one of the worst offensive performances, I think, through 3 quarters. Not even just a Super Bowl, like a playoff football offensively. Like, they could not get anything going. And again, I still stick with my side of I think I picked the right side in the sense of the gameplay, the way it played out. It was just the Patriots offense. I don't even know if it was the Seahawks. I mean, their defense was disrupting them, but I think they just were shooting themselves in the foot. And they couldn't block, and they couldn't give Drake May time. And when Drake May got time, he couldn't step up in the pocket for some. It was just like very, very weird for them, uncharacteristic.
Two things with what you said. One, I actually disagree. The reason why I picked the Seahawks is because I thought it'd be ugly, and I would take the Seahawks 10 out of 10 times in that type of game. Because they're so good, they would win that ugly game. Like if
they played 100 games, how many does the Patriots win?
I think the Patriots win like out of 100, probably like 30.
Okay, I'll take that. I
think the Seahawks win 70 of those.
I'll take that. Yeah,
just because you would need Darnold to just shit the bed, but like the ugly type of that ugly type of game, like the Seahawks they're built for that. It's like, remember I brought up the 49ers game. I know it's the 49ers, but still they can win those ugly ass games. I don't know. And we're going to talk about the defense because honestly, that like And that's the other part I wanted to address. The Patriots made a lot of mistakes, but I believe, and you could disagree with this, I think the Seahawks made them look like that. Like,
yeah, their defense was incredible.
I don't think it was like the Patriots messing up. Well, they were messing up, but the Seahawks were just that good. They just couldn't block them. It wasn't like, oh, Will Campbell just had a bad day. It's like, no, the Seahawks were just that good. Will Campbell didn't know what to do. He was just overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gave up. I think they had the most sacks. I could be wrong. I thought I saw a stat, the most sacks ever in a Super Bowl, or tied for the most. Tied or the most. One of them.
I did see it too. I don't know if you saw this. I literally saw this in the last hour. I think it was Witherspoon did an interview, and he said that Mike McDonald had that the Patriots were given some sort of like telling sign of what they were going to do. And Mike McDonald caught on to it, whether it was before the game started, like in their prep of the game, or if it was like during the game. And Witherspoon said that there was like a tell sign, and he said Mike McDonald put us in a position to execute that and like take advantage of it. And from there, it was just over. And it kind of, honestly, like looking back at it, punting it whatever 7 or 8 times that they did to start the game. Now looking back, you're like, yeah, it was like in baseball, a pitcher's tipping his pitches. Like, yeah, you're going to know exactly what to do. And if they were tipping some sort of like, hey, we're going to run here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Like now you understand like some of the sacks that they had where they're just like, you're like, how are they bringing in a safety in a corner at the same time? Like, and it's like, well, they know exactly what they're running. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like we know exactly what you're doing. So we're able just to do whatever we want defensively. And if that's true, and Witherspoon said it, like felt like it was very true. Like that's insane. Like that's Matt.
I think it goes to show what Flannel said yesterday, which I agree with 1,000%, and he put it very well. Mike McDonald is the defensive Shanahan, defensive McVay. He is that type of guy. Like he's that guy. I think he's the first, at least since Belichick. You don't see it often. Maybe Todd Bowles. I don't know if Todd Bowles called plays on defense, but calling plays on defense to win a Super Bowl. Usually, in the common trend in the NFL is offensive minds and great quarterback play. But you had this kind of anomaly, which is, I love, it's great for the league. It's amazing. Like Sam Darnold, game manager, and an elite defense led by an elite play caller on defense, win a Super Bowl. Like that was like, that put a loop. It kind of threw everyone for a loop because we've been talking about, this is the way to win Super Bowls. And, you kind of get one of those moments where it's like, well, Sam Darnold just game managed his way to a Super Bowl, which I think people should now understand on a Monday morning or Monday night now. Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl, man. Like, I don't think it's, if you don't believe even today that Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl or isn't capable of it skill-wise, I don't know what you're smoking. And I don't know what you watched yesterday. Because Sam Darnold didn't really have to do much. Like, he just didn't. The defense was so good, and the run game was so good, and they just basically game managed their way to a ring. Which, again, credit to Darnold, but, like, that should tell people, you can have moments like that where Jared Goff can win it. Absolutely. You just have to give him a great defense, which they failed to do over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's the first, by the way, like the defense first, the Mike McDonald thing. First defensive play caller, I think, to win a Super Bowl. I think I saw a head coach play caller to do it.
Yeah, people were saying like Bill Belichick. I think Bill might have put like he had Matt Patricia calling plays. Like I don't know if he always called plays on defense.
Yeah, so I saw the tweet. Sure I saw the tweet today that was. Now I did not know that. That was like shocking. It was shocking to me. And that was like, again, that's why you win it. It's shocking to me too. Like there was a lot of people today, and you know what? Like Ryan Clark again. The other day, this is back-to-back shows that we've had where I've given up a Ryan Clark take where I'm like, hey, I actually agree with Ryan Clark, which is shocking because Ryan Clark says the craziest and most wild things of all time.
Yeah, he does.
But again, he was right today where they did a segment. How many NFC quarterbacks could have won a Super Bowl on this Seahawks team? And he listed 8 of them off. And I think I fully agree with him to where it's not me taking anything away from Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's a really good, like a good quarterback. And we've had this conversation before with Sam, where in regards to like, hey, like he is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL and he can win you games and he can be a reason why you win games, but also he can control the game when you need him to take a step back and just to control the game and game manage. He does that at a very high level. And I think there's a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that do it. But it shows like, and I think, Jalen Hurts did have moments last year. but it shows this year, like, you can have a game manager style quarterback if you set your team up to win correctly, like you said, with the defense. And there's so many quarterbacks in the NFC alone. Like, I'm not saying 8 quarterbacks in the NFL that Ryan Clark said. He said Ryan Clark named 8 NFC quarterbacks that could have won on the Seahawks team. And every single one he named, I was like, yes, like, yep. He even had Jordan Love in that conversation. I'm not the biggest Jordan Love fan, but if you throw Jordan Love on this Seattle Seahawks team, you're probably still winning a Super Bowl with the defense that you had, and with K9 and kind of the offense, the way the offense is built. And I think people need to realize that. People who are like, you're never going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. It's one of those things where me and you have been on this whole time, where it's like a take a look in the mirror thing, right? And now if you want to argue maybe contractually that, yeah. But then that's when you get into the conversation, Jeff, where people are like, well, you pay him so much. Like, Sam Darnold's not as much. Okay, well, then let's restructure his deal. And then they're mad and they're like, well, no, because then you're locked in with him for the next few years, right? Like, you're automatic. That's the point. It's like you have a quarterback that can do what Sam Darnold can do, if not a little bit more. You restructure his deal. You build a team around him. You win a Super Bowl. And I think it's that, like, yesterday was such a prime example, and I think it has to shut a lot of people up that are like, you can't win without a Josh Allen, or you can't win without a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or whatever it is. Like, no, you can. Honestly, you can. Honestly, Jeff, too, what's crazy, majority quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls are probably game managers. Tom Brady's won 7 of them. Game manager. Elite game manager. That's why he's won 7. But he's a game manager. That's the style that he plays. But you do see, like, the Sam Darnold, the NFC Championship game. He was the reason they're in the Super Bowl. He was perfect in the NFC Championship game. But what was the narrative before that game, Jeff, the NFC Championship game with Sam Darnold?
He could win big games.
And that was the biggest narrative. And that was for years. That wasn't just like that was years. And in Minnesota last year, like, we saw that with Sam Darnold, where it was like, hey, big games can't do it. And he breaks the narrative just like that. Why is that? Because he has the right offense around him. He has the right coordinator with Clint Kubiak. He has the right defense behind him with that Mike McDonald defense. And that's the exact same thing here in Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff has won big games to get to the Super Bowl. He did it. Obviously took the Lions on the run to until they lost to the 49ers, and he played well in that game. And then the only thing people want to remember is the Washington Commanders game. Or the Minnesota Vikings game, right? Like, you only want to pick and choose and remember. It was the same thing with Sam Darnold in that narrative. The only thing people wanted to remember were his 2 games the game versus the Lions and the game versus the Rams last year. That's all people wanted to remember. They didn't want to remember all of his actual games where he played really good.
Well, Jared Goff game managed his way to a Super Bowl with the Rams. They didn't beat the Patriots. It was an ugly offensive performance, but I would argue Jared, since that moment, has gotten better as a quarterback. I think he's improved as a quarterback as he's gotten older, as he's kind of, added on more years into his career, and he's had the chance to learn and, do a lot of self-scouting. I think he's a better quarterback, and he's already been to a Super Bowl and game managed his way there. Yep. So, Sam Darnold before this was a one-time starter in Minnesota. They didn't win a playoff game, and before then he was basically a backup / starter who had some success, like maybe a game or 2. Maybe with the Panthers had a nice little run. Jets was a disaster. Obviously, it's the Jets, but it's not like he had this, decorative career leading up into this Seahawks team. So I think Jared, like, if anyone is still saying he can't win a Super Bowl, I'll say it again. I just don't know what you're smoking. I think
it's one of those lazy takes. Like, they just,
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. We just watched it with our own eyes. Now, I think, which we'll get to, coaching, which matters, which we'll get to. But I think another big takeaway of mine that the Lions can learn from, and I think this is one of my bigger takeaways, besides the Jared thing, because I think we had to mention that, is your front 4, or maybe more specifically, your front 7. You can phrase it however you want, but we'll just go with your defensive line. Look at what the Seahawks defense is able to do with a great defensive play caller, one of the best in the NFL, if not the best, with that defensive line, the guys that they have, with DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Murphy, they got Boye Mafe they can put in moments, Leonard Williams. They have so many guys. Who's the guy who returned the Guy who returned the touchdown. They forced they sacked Drake May, fumbled. There's like so many guys on that front seven. I can't remember them all, but they're all making plays. They're able to get after the quarterback, and what they're able to do because they can get pressure with 4 and not have to always blitz. But when they do blitz, it's very impactful. Is you have guys like, Nick Amanawari, Julian Love, two good safeties, and they can do a lot defensively. Like the Lions, they, and Brad Holmes can sit there and say, people bring up edge. We already have Aiden Hutchinson, but the reality is these guys have a bunch of guys that can make plays up front. And the Lions just don't have that. You know what I mean? They just don't. And if you want to use AQM, that's fine. AQM had a great year this year, but he's not going to return. So even looking forward, like, you have Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem, there's a big question mark around him, Ty Leak, DJ Reader. We don't know if he's going to return. Probably not. Like, there's a lot of question marks around this D line. And if you're going to win the Super Bowl, you got to figure out your front 4. Like, we got to get that situated, man. Like, you can't just go into the season and be like, well, we have Hutch. Because I'm telling you, man, as great as Hutch is, the Seahawks, like the Patriots were just giving up pressure from everywhere. They didn't know where guys are just winning all over the place. And the Lions just can't do that. They just can't. So that was my big takeaway from the Super Bowl is, man, this defensive line, we say it every year. And I know people are like, oh my gosh, I'm sick of hearing it. Well, too bad. You saw it again yesterday, man. It's great defense with a great front 7, great defensive line. So again, I know the offensive line's important. I'm not denying that. But man, that front 4, dude, they stop the run and they get after the quarterback.
Agreed. I honestly, I don't even think it's just that front. I agree with you 100% on the front 4, but I think that defense in general, like you could just find guys that they've got steals on. This tweet that comes back to me, because I had it in my draft, Jeff, in regards to the Seahawks defense and the Lions defense. I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, that was something like a big thing in the Lions Twitter, was like the two defenses and comparing. And the Seahawks defense, obviously number 1 defense in the NFL. The Lions defense, number 22 in the NFL. Can I ask you a question? Because I saw some tweets yesterday after this, people comparing the Lions defense to the Seahawks defense. I don't know. I came across a couple tweets and I was shocked by some of the takes in regards to it, to where it was like, there's people who are like, well, the Lions defense is actually really similar to the Seahawks defense. Like, no, it's not. It's That's not.
Cold, man. That's
100%. And for me, it's like, all right, let's do this. Let's go into an ideal world. Do you want to do that real quick, Jeff? Ideal world. Lions defense is fully healthy, okay? I want to ask you this. Fully healthy. Seahawks defense, fully healthy. Who's a better defense overall if they both are fully healthy? What would you say?
Fully healthy, I would say the Seahawks. But I would, you can go position by position. Like, I'll give the Lions their safeties. Fully healthy, I'll take the Lions safeties.
But fully healthy defense as a whole, who are we taking?
Yeah, like I'd go Seahawks. Yeah.
Who's built the better defense? Probably Seahawks, right?
They're more complete. They're more complete.
So if people are like, well, the Lions, man, like they have to, Jeff, the Seahawks this last year in 2025, defensively, an 85.7. When you look at contracts that they handed out and contracts they have defensively, the average salary per year for defensive is they're spending $85.7 million on their defense. The Detroit Lions on average, like average per year, $147 million. $60 million more. And then you want to be like, well, the Lions, they were healthy. This defense would be good. You're paying $60 million more. Yeah, that has to do with Hutch's contract. But people are like, man, you got to spend money to have a good defense. You have to do this. The Seattle Seahawks just proved that you can draft elite defensive players on the D line, secondary line. You could draft. You can go out there in free agency and bring in elite defensive players on good deals defensively. And also, number 3, you can trade for elite defensive contracts and not break the bank, because they built an elite defense, the number 1 defense in the NFL, mind you, and a defense that just led them to a Super Bowl. They did that on an average per year, $85 million salary. And mind you too, if you want to talk about cap hits, well, a lot of people will be like, well, Booner, what about cap hits? They essentially have the same cap hit as the Detroit Lions this last year with their defensive players. They're starters, by the way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean full every defensive player. Starters. I did starters. I was texting with Easy about it. I was like, I'm going to do starters. $67 million cap hit for the 11 starters for the Detroit Lions. The Seahawks, $70 million. So their cap hit was $3 million more on their starting defense, except they had the number 1 defense. So they paid the same amount. Number 1 defense, you had the number 22. So what that comes down to is, you could argue injuries all you want, but one, it comes down to coaching. You have Mike McDonald out there coaching these guys.
No question.
And number 2, it comes down to talent and value evaluation. Because you look at some of the defensive guys that they have playing on their defensive line, Jeff, and if you want to start comparing some of those guys, if you want to compare like some of that D line to the Lions D line, if you even want to go healthy, because you could be like they're injured, even if you want to just be like, all right, what about the health guys? You're talking about guys like Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, DeMarcus Lawrence, compared to like Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, and like those aren't good comparisons. Those guys are way better. Like night and day difference better. Night and day difference better. And you look at corners like Devon Witherspoon, Josh Jobe was good in the playoffs. Like, dude, Tariq Woolen, they drafted, by the way, like they just draft and get free agents on cheap deals that they're better at talent evaluation and defense. They are. And there's no excuse for it. And that's why I get so mad sometimes when people, like I see tweets yesterday, people being like, well, the Lions defense is actually pretty similar. Like, no, it's not. They've swung and missed on way more guys. The Seahawks didn't swing and miss. Brad has swung and missed on guys. He's given out contracts to the wrong guys. And then also, I'll do you one more up. Dan Campbell can't get a defensive coordinator, and he can't get anyone to lead that defense and create an elite defense. And he's sticking with what he had last year. They had the number 20. Like, if you want to be like, hey, this defense is only in, you're bringing in the same DC to do the same stuff that you've done the last 5 years. You haven't came close to the Seattle Seahawks defense. You haven't come close. You're not in the same atmosphere as their defense. You could be like, well, we have all pros. That's cool. But where does your defense rank? It's not even close to that Seahawks defense that just won a Super Bowl. You're on Pluto and they're on our planet Earth playing for a Super Bowl. You're so far away from them defensively.
Yeah. It's a great point. You could bring up like, well, Jack Campbell, Aiden Hutchinson, they're the better individual players, or Kirby and Brian. The Seahawks have better complementary players. They have their stars on defense.
1 through 15.
Dude, like their complementary players are good. Like the Lions, you look at their defense, you're like, oh, Jack Campbell, Aiden Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Kirby. But then you look and you're like, ooh, there's a liability. There's a liability. There's a liability. The Seahawks have a more complete defense. So they might not have a Aiden Hutchinson or a Jack Campbell, but they have a better collective defense, and they play better, obviously, together as a unit, and because they're better coached. Like, and I know you're comparing Kelvin to Mike McDonald. Yeah, that's the type of play calling you're looking for, right? Like that's, it's a common theme in the NFL that defensive head coaches, they can't get their offensive coordinator right. Mike McDonald did that. They had a lot of success. They won the Super Bowl. It's actually, believe it or not, we don't talk enough about offensive coaches not really getting their defensive coordinator right, because that happens too. And I feel like that's been Dan's kind of issue the last couple of years. I mean, even going back to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn, he's loyal to Aaron Glenn, and I get it. You were in a rebuild, so you gave him time. And then there was injuries, so, whatever. But Calvin Shepard now, like, we're kind of getting there to the point. We're getting to the point where we're like, okay, we're 5-6 years in, and we still have never seen a good defense. That, to me, is inexcusable. Like, at some point, I mean, and I know some of these other coaches have had way longer, of a runway. I get it. But even Sean McVay at one point had, they had great defenses. Or Kyle Shanahan, they had great defense. Dan, at some point, dude, you got to have a great defense.
By the way, too, and I love when people come at us, Jeff, and then they throw another comment out there and you just proved my point. Dom in the chat, it said, Booner, you're just coping. That you're just coping about this defense. No, I'm actually not, Jeff. I mean, maybe we're coping, but for me, it's more like, hey, the two teams in the Super Bowl were two elite defensive teams, right? And what does this Lions team do? Yeah, we have a great offense, an unbelievable offense. But what's the one thing that they've ignored and they have not been good at for 5 years? It's defense. You just saw two defensive teams play for the Lombardi Trophy. And then you know what happens here? Dom says we're coping, Jeff. Look at what happens. He said, Booner, you do realize the Seahawks got rid of their number 1 and number 2 receivers before this year, and Darnold just won a Super Bowl. Thank you for proving my point, Dom. is that the Detroit Lions spend all this money on receivers. They draft and trade up to go get Isaac Tesla and spend assets on receivers. They swing and miss on defensive players. They give Aleem McNeil, and they just throw money at Aleem McNeil, whatever, instead of trying to actually invest in the D-line more so. And offensively, that's all. It seems like that's all they're focused on, bringing in new staff for offense. And Dom, your point right there, like you know what I would do? I would print this comment off, Dom, and I would hand it to Brad Holmes to prove my point that you just said I was coping about, and to say, hey, Brad, offense isn't the only thing that matters, bud. Here you go. The Seahawks just got rid of number 1 and number 2, and they just won a Super Bowl of their wide receivers. Here you go. It's defense that matters, Brad. It's not me coping. Thank you for proving my point, Dom. That's exactly what I was saying. I appreciate you joining our chat, and I appreciate you proving my point today after saying we're coping.
Wilson. Shout out Wilson. Appreciate you for watching. If the Lions were top 3 in fewest injuries like the Seahawks and Patriots, you might have been there too. How about this? We're not even asking for the Super Bowl, Wilson. How about just make the freaking playoffs? Can you do that? Can we just how about that? Can we just talk about making the playoffs? We don't have to talk about the Super Bowl.
And why Dom hits it? Booner, Hutch would be their best pass rusher, Campbell their best linebacker, Kirby and Branch their best safeties. If that's the case, Dom, then why don't we have a top 5 defense for the last 5 years if they're that good? It's not about having the best player at each position. It's about building a whole defense.
Yeah, there's
11 guys on the field, Dom. 11, Dom. I'll start teaching you some football. There's 11 football players on the field, not 3. It's not 3 versus 3. It's 11 on 11.
Well, I'll even look at the Seahawks. They've done a good job with John Schneider. They don't fall in love with players. They'll sign guys that deserve to be signed, but they don't fall in love. Like they said goodbye to Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner. They said goodbye to the number 1 receiver that John Schneider drafted, DK Metcalf. Said goodbye to him. They said goodbye to Tyler Lockett, Seahawks legend. They've said goodbye to a lot of guys that have been their guys.
Lions love their guys, though. They're going to stay their guys. They'll never get rid of them.
And I know DK had, some issues on field, but still like a very good wide receiver. Leaves career low in all statistics. But John Schneider's like, it's okay. I'm going to find you. I'm going to find a replacement. And I think sometimes with Brad, I know John's had a long time being a GM. So maybe this is something he's grasped over time. But I think for Brad, it's at some point, Brad's got to understand that concept of like, listen, man, I know you draft guys and you love the guys you draft because it's your draft pick, but you can't always fall in love with your guys. Like Aleem McNeil, you didn't need to sign him. You don't need to sign these guys. You don't. You could say goodbye to them because you're such a great evaluator. You're going to hit on another draft pick. And the problem is if Tyleek, let's say Tyleek, was like Chris Jones year 1. It's like you don't know what you're gonna. You should prioritize finding. If Aleem's not good enough, fine, go find someone who is like Byron Murphy, dude. By the way, he'll get paid. He showed it. Like he's been very good for them. Like JSN, he's gonna get paid because he's better than DK and Tyler Lockett. Like they want something better, and I think the Brad Holmes has kind of fumbled that angle with Aleem or. Even by the way, J-Mo's a great player. I'm not saying he's not good enough or anything, but like trading up for Tesla and giving J-Mo money, like you didn't have to do that. It's like 2 years left with J-Mo, like stuff like that. It's like, what are we doing?
Those are two decisions in the last year where I would like to sit down with Brad and just and honestly, if we ever had an opportunity, I would ask just, hey, what is your thought process on these 2 separate moves? Paying Aleem and then drafting that same position, and then drafting and using assets for another wide receiver, and then paying your wide receiver too. Like those are like 2 different moves where you did like the moves that he did post or pre those. Like if you were going to draft Isaac Tesla, you're doing that because you don't want to pay. Like any normal GM would be like, I'm not going to pay J-Mo because we can't afford it, so we're going to draft another guy to replace him. He did both. For the Tyleek and Aleem thing, like if you're going to pay Aleem McNeil, you don't go defensive tackle in the first round. You just paid the same exact player. And then like you just paid him top 5 money at his position. You use a first round pick on him, and you come out in the post draft and say his comp is Aleem McNeil. Like that's his comp. So it's like, but you just paid Aleem 6 months ago. So it's like he's making these moves where it's like, hey man, like you can't do both or you're going to get yourself in a hole. And that's what it feels like defensively. Because to build a good defense, you got to be able to. You have to be able to build a full defense, man. Like you have to be able to build a full defense.
Dude, receiver this is the tale oldest time too, along with many other things. Receiver is a position in the NFL. It's not quite running back, but receivers are everywhere. Like look at the Seahawks, right? They have JSN, who's a superstar. They went and signed Cooper Kupp for like, hey man, come join our team. We just got him in free agency. He was available. They signed him. And then they traded for Rashid Shaheed. They literally built their wide receiver core in like an offseason. I mean, it's that easy, man. Like, because they know we need to prioritize very important positions, offensive line, defensive line, corners, safeties, linebackers, whatever it is, whatever it may be, running back or whatever. They got Zach Charbonnet, but they understand we'll just build this receiver core out. Like, it's fine. Because again, like receiver is it's an important position, but like you have Amon-Ra, I really don't care who's around him. Like he'll be fine. Like you really will, man. You don't have to pay every single receiver in your room. It's not, if you want a Super Bowl, I promise you, it's going to be because of your defense. It's going to be because of your head coach, and it's going to be because of Jared Goff. And then maybe Amon-Ra making plays and Jameer making plays. And I get Jameer could be a big reason, obviously with Kenneth Walker. But like you're not going to be like, man, this wide receiver room won this game. Like it's going to be, can Jared Goff take care of the football? Can the defense play well? Like, I don't know. Brad, I hopefully, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but hopefully those guys learn something. And I saw the article you put in there, maybe with Dan Campbell learning something, which honestly, when I read this article, I kind of agree with it. I kind of agree with the article. And I'm going to show you guys what it said. It was on Sports Illustrated. Shout out to our good friend, the DOC. But it was Mad Dog, Sirius XM radio host, Damon Amendola. Took a dig at Dan Campbell because he.
Oh, hey, real quick. Pistons game, there's fists being thrown right now.
By who?
Bro, swinging on Diabate. He's just swing on Jalen Duren. He's pulling right now. He's literally pulling a Isaiah Stewart on LeBron. He's sprinting at him. He just got free and he just threw a coach on the ground. Diabate did. Oh, and now there's another fight breaking out. Oh, dude, it's a brawl. This is a brawl. Is this Isaiah Stewart? Isaiah Stewart's fighting with someone now. Like legit. Miles Bridges and Isaiah Stewart just went at it. And there's another fight. Oh, Stu. They're pulling Stu back again now. Stu's going to get suspended probably because he came off the bench. He was on the bench, came all the way on the floor and started fighting Miles Bridges. Oh, my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Diabate's still going crazy. They're holding Diabate down on the ground right now. They're holding Diabate's like the crowd's having to hold Diabate back. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, Stu's suspended, dude.
This fight, that was insane.
Yeah, Cade's like, all right. Because we need you, big fella.
Oh my God. I don't know what happened, but Diabate is like, you ever have like friends or people that like I've had friends that like, they just have like anger issues where it's like they get mad and you can't calm them down. Like you have to like hold them down for like 5 minutes to get them to calm down. Have you ever had like people in your life like that, like a friend?
No.
You've never had someone like that has like just very crazy anger issues and they like can't calm down?
I know.
That's Diabate right now. Like they're holding him down and he's just like still like, dude, they're still holding him back. Xavier D said, yeah, they're called psychopaths.
Yeah, I was going to say that's called a psycho.
There's people like that though, where it's like they can't, like you could do anything. Those are like people who like go crazy. Diabate is just like doing that right now.
Wait, someone said he knocked his ass out cold? I gotta see. Wait, hold on.
I don't know who got knocked out cold, but
let me see. Wait, they gotta show a replay, man.
I'm trying to get this to put this out on Crunch Time. Oh my gosh! I mean, Jalen Duren was probably just bullying him. That's all it probably came down to. Stu's gonna get kicked out for
watching the replay. Duren drives on him, backs him down.
Yeah, just body him, just destroying him. Oh, Duren pushed him in the face. And then Diabate started swinging. Yeah, Duren did give him a push in the face. Oh, and Miles Bridges just came in and punched Jalen Duren out of nowhere.
Yeah, Miles Bridges is
What is Miles doing? And then Stu just came in. Stu came in as soon as he saw him do that. Stu came in and just went at Miles. I love Isaiah Stewart, dude. Stu just came in out of nowhere and just took Miles
Bridges,
out.
Man is a punk ass.
I won't say that. I love Miles Bridges.
No, he is a punk ass, dude.
We grew up in similar circles as Miles Bridges. I do not condone anything Jeff's saying, but I don't think Miles should have done that.
Come up and try and like sucker punch. I'm glad Stu whooped his ass, bro. What you doing? Trying to throw us like get out of here, bro. It's not even involving you. It's not even involving you, bro.
I like that Stu came in though. I like how Stu came in.
Stu would send him.
Stu would destroy Miles, dude.
Stu would bury that man alive. I don't want to hear that, dude.
I'm tweeting this out. Wow.
Wow, this is crazy, bro. That's nuts. Oh, the bad boys, boy. The bad boys. Oh, no.
That's crazy.
No. Hey, someone tweeted the Pistons thought so. Bridges walked across the court to throw a punch at Duren. Stu went and took care of that off the bench.
Dude, I love the fact
that. Oh, dude, did you see Bridges when Stu was walking up to him, dude? He was like backing up, like, oh shit, this is a big dude. This dude. Oh, here we go. The files are coming through.
There's probably going to be a million. I'm glad we had to stop the show for that. No, that felt like I'm not going to say it was like the Palace at the Malice or the Malice at the Palace, but that felt like it was like about to happen.
Four players ejected. Keep it moving.
Musa Diabate ejected, Miles Bridges ejected, Jalen Duren, and Isaiah Stewart.
All ejected. We'll shoot the free.
I have a bet with Asar Thompson, so I'm glad that it happened the way it did. Asar wasn't involved. Realistically, Jalen Duren probably shouldn't have handed the face Diabate, but the reaction to it was like, okay, everything following it.
Yeah, he did do that for. Okay, I get that.
Anything that by the way, anything that happens with the Pistons, like any type of Isaiah Stewart's right there, ready to go.
I love Isaiah Stewart, bro.
Me too. He might be one of my favorite players of all time.
I mean, how do you not love the guy, dude? How do you not love the guy? All right, sorry about that. I mean, that's insane, dude. That's insane. Yeah, they're putting it out now. I just saw people talking about it. I'm sure it'll be up there.
Yeah, I'm getting it on our Instagram right now.
Wow. Bad boys are back.
I love that. I don't know if people hate that. Like B-ball Paul time. Yeah, I've turned on B-ball Paul, man. I'm flipped. I like B-ball Paul.
Wow. All right.
That just threw us off into
no, I mean, rightfully so. That was big
atmosphere. That was insane.
What
if there's just like you know how in like hockey they do like line fights, like as soon as like the puck's dropped,
when they get off.
What if they just do as soon as the puck or as soon as the ball gets inbounded here, they're just let's do it.
Paul Reed's gonna shoot the free throws, I think.
Paul Reed, not Cade?
Oh wait, who's shooting these? Yeah, he is. I think because he's. Wow, that's crazy, man. Wow. JB, he understands it, dude. He's so cool. He's like, listen, man, that's not. He's probably not happy with it, but he's talking to Duren. He's like, I get it. He's like, I can hear him mouthing it. Like, I understand. I get you. He's, whatever. It is what it is. And B-ball just bricked the first one.
No, why is they probably can choose. I think they probably can choose.
His foot's on the line.
Dude, this is so sick, dude. I love this type of stuff.
Yeah, that's what you like. All right. That was nice. I love that.
And then LaMelo Ball just smashed
give the
three.
Hornets some momentum, though. All right. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't give them any momentum. They just banged a three. All right, but like I was saying before, the Pistons got into an absolute brawl. A Mad Dog Sports Series XM radio host, Damon Amendola?
Amendola? Okay.
Danny Amendola seemed to take a dig at aggressive NFL coaches like Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions and Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos. Ironically, those two are tied at the hip. When he posted comments on social media, according to this radio host, he said, "quote The Super Bowl win by Mike McDonald is for all the over-caffeinated coaches who can't help but go for it on fourth down and find field goals in level-headed game management so reprehensible." Okay, that's fair. And it says it talked about Dan Campbell. It says, unfortunately, Dan Campbell and his decisions to gamble did not pay off as often in 2025, resulting in the defense being tasked to attempting to limit the damage. Yeah. Now, I will. This is where I'm at with this, okay? Because I think this is something we mentioned on the broadcast yesterday. We saw a Super Bowl in which the teams had to take the points. It was a defensive game, and both of those coaches understood what kind of game it was. There was times where the Patriots, were on fourth down and they didn't choose to go for it. They punted it because at the time it was still a 2-possession game or 2-score game. And they felt like, hey man, let's make Seattle go the entire field on us, which they have been struggling to do at the beginning of that game. So I thought that was the right call on the Patriots' part. But if Dan Campbell and the Lions were in that same position, would they have gone for it on that fourth down? Probably. And if they didn't get that, the Seahawks would have been they would have had great field position. So he probably put it a lot more bluntly than I would have, which I have no problem with that. It's not about how the message is said. To me, it's the message. It's the actual message. And what he's saying is essentially the aggressive head coaches, they wouldn't have probably had the type of success that these coaches are able to have because they're able to have discipline, which I actually agree with. I think Dan, in order for him to win a Super Bowl, yes, Jared Goff can do it. We talked about that. Yes, you need a great defense. We talked about that. You need a good O-line. We talked about that. There's things we can definitely dissect, but at the top of all that is your head coach and being able to be disciplined, being able to take the points, being able to understand the flow of a football game, which Dan Campbell, I'll give him credit. One of his best traits is in the press conference leading up to the game, he's very good at predicting sometimes how a game's going to go. He's very good at feeling a game before it happens. The problem is when he gets in that said game, he then unravels.
Yeah.
If it's a lower scoring game like the Eagles, he goes for it a lot. Like the Lions were in this type of game against the Eagles this year. Pretty close. And they win for it a bunch of times. Or you'll have games this year where, you're in a higher scoring game and he chooses to take the points. You could bring up the Rams game, for example. So, again, I'm not saying going for it is a bad idea. It's when you go for it. And Dan Campbell, I think, as he kind of grows in this league, hopefully we'll have a better understanding of that. You saw it in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. Like, going for it in that game and the defense being bad, it just didn't work out the way that, Lions fans hoped. But that's something Dan has to understand, man. Like, and I see this comment. Let's see. What was it? Let me find it. Oh, Devin. Well, Seattle has a defense. Well, if you remember, Devin, too, man, even in some of the games early on where the defense was playing really well, like the Eagles game, the defense was playing really well in that game. they still went for it. So I don't even know if that's really the end all be all there. Like, even if Dan had a good defense, I think personally that Dan's thought process would be with a good defense, they'll get the ball back. We can go for it. So he's basically going to go for it either way, because if they don't have a defense, then he'll be like, well, we don't have a defense, we should go for it. And if they have a defense, he'll say, well, the defense can probably get a stop here, so we should go for it. To me, he does the same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. It's the same reason why Jahmyr Gibbs kept getting the football down the stretch over David Montgomery. If we just give him one more carry, he can break one. If we just give him one more carry, he can break one. It's like the Dan Gamble narrative doesn't die. It's like he believes we just got to give Jahmyr Gibbs one more carry. It's like, Dan, take a breath, understand the type of game you're in, understand the flow. He's a great coach. I'm not saying Dan's a bad coach, but that's the part of Dan's coaching style that needs to be tweaked a little bit moving forward. If you want to win a Super Bowl and you want to hold a trophy, like I think Colin Cowherd said it one time, and I know we give a lot of shit. He's wrong. I get it. He's wrong a lot. I'm not going to say the guy's right or anything, but he said one time, brought up on the show, that recklessness has never hoisted a trophy. And actually, the only time, at least in recent memory that I can remember, is actually, ironically enough, Sean Payton, when they went for an onside kick in the Super Bowl. When they ended up
that's the only one I've brought that up before too, because that's like I think the most, and the reason I've brought that up before is because that's like Dan Campbell's.
But it really doesn't happen. That's like the only example I can think of, to be honest.
His protege, or he's his protege. Like,
that's the only example I can think of. And Sean Payton he hasn't won one since, but other coaches that, are like Andy Reid with Mahomes aren't that aggressive. And he has the best quarterback now named Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know. So I actually agree with what he's saying there.
I don't think he's wrong, honestly. Like, I think, like, I do like there's times and I think me and you have gone back and forth on this a few times, not even just with being on the same side of this. We've gone back and forth where there's been times where you've been like, hey, I like the aggressiveness in this moment, and I've been like, I don't. And I think a lot of people do. Like, it seems like a lot of people go back and forth and aren't, like, no one really knows. I feel like, I don't know if that makes sense.
The game. That's really it.
But I think like one thing that we brought up that me and you really agreed on last year was being able to get a feel for each game and know like when it's right to do it. And I think majority of the time, like in the play, especially when it comes in big games and in the playoffs, like majority of the time, the points is the way to go. And I do like being aggressive, and I like in certain moments, like Dan's brought it up in the past where, hey, he knows that maybe the defense isn't as healthy, or the defense isn't playing well. Okay, we're going to have to win this game offensively, and we're going to have to go for it on fourth down. But then there are those moments where it's like, all right, where are you at in the game? Because if your defense isn't playing well and you're like, hey, I have to win it offensively, what if your offense doesn't get that? Now you're putting your defense in a really bad position, and the reason you did it is because your defense is already beaten up, and you're worried about that. So it's like there's a lose-lose to it, to a sense, kind of, as you think about it. But I do think it's something that Dan, like, the one thing about it with Dan is, like, he's been asked this year about it. I think the doc even has brought it up with him. And Dan's always adamant, like, I'm always going to do it. Like, there was a game earlier this year where he just kept, I think it was the Eagles game, where he just kept going for it, and fail. And I think it was the doc that brought up, like, hey, were you ever considering like taking points? Like, was that something that you were like, hey, we're not converting, like we're 0 for 8 converting, maybe we should take points? And he was like, no, I was always going to go for it. And it was like, those are moments where you have to be able to, the word is you have to be able to adapt as a coach.
Yeah,
you have to. And if you're realizing, hey, it's the same thing where if you have a kicker and your kicker's struggling, all right, maybe we have to go for it because your kicker can't kick a 50-yarder. It's the same thing with your offense. Like, hey, if you're having a year where offensively you're struggling converting fourth downs, all right, now we have to trust our kicker, right? Like, now we have to turn and trust our kicker. But you have to be consistent with it. And it's like, hey, if something's working, you just can't always just be like, we're a fourth down team no matter what. Like, because sometimes you're just not good at it. And in this let's say, like, prime example is this last year, you lose in all these one possession games, and you died on the hill of essentially going for it on fourth down. And big games and games that, like the Eagles game is such a prime example, man, where if you just take the points that whole game, you knew it was going to be what's the saying? Like a barn burner. Like, you knew it was going to be a close game. You knew it was going to be a battle. You're on the road. It's a little colder. You knew that. And if you take the points in that game, you probably have an opportunity to win it. Or if not, you do actually win the game. And that's what it's like in the playoffs, man. You saw it. I mean, dude, you saw it with the Patriots with Mike Vrabel. You saw how you could argue Mike Vrabel was a little too disciplined in the Super Bowl with that, right? Of not taking points and just kicking it or not going for it on fourth down. He might have been a little too disciplined with it, but I do think like comes a point where you have to be able to adapt, and especially playoff time when it comes to it, man, you take the points and you punt the ball and you try and get it stopped.
Well, I'll give you a big example. Amon-Ra gets hurt against the Packers. No Sam Laporta. Your offensive line isn't good. The only pass catcher you have really on the field is Jameson Williams. In that situation, the adaptability you're talking about, if you're a head coach and you're going, okay, well, I just lost my most reliable pass catcher. We don't have our tight end one, who's a really reliable pass catcher. We have JMO, who's an electric playmaker, but maybe doesn't have the most reliable hands. Maybe in these fourth down situations, we got to be extra careful, because we're relying on guys that we lost a lot of our juice here on these short yardage situations. No, he goes for it. And JMO drops a ball, which people would say, well, JMO should catch that ball. Guys, like if you're Dan Campbell in that, Dan Campbell said it himself, JMO, his hands are never going to get to Amon-Ra's level. So like, I get that, but how about we just try and tweak a little bit of that philosophy, given who you have at your disposal personnel wise? Can we do that? That's what I mean by that. And that's what you're talking about. That's what I've always mentioned with the adaptability argument. Like there's some times where it's like, hey, might not have all our weapons here. Our O-line's not good. Our O-line hasn't been what it's been when we dominated 4th and 1 situations. Maybe we shouldn't be as aggressive, or we can go for it on 4th down. I'm not saying you completely get rid of it, but just be more careful, and that's something Dan, I think this offseason hopefully has some self-reflecting, self-scouting, and moving forward can be a little smarter in those situations. The only way they're going to win a Super Bowl, man. I mean, on top of you can have the roster all you want, but coaching matters, and you saw that on display. ESPN did their NFL power rankings before we get to our mock drafts. And everyone in the chat, put a number 1 through 32, where the Lions are ranked.
Good.
Where the Lions are ranked in the early 2026 NFL power rankings. Where would you put the Lions at on a power ranking list? So clearly, Seahawks and Patriots were in the Super Bowl. Where would the Lions stand? Put it 1 through 32. Put your guesses. And then we'll show it. They also mentioned, what the Lions need to do to get back to, where they were the last couple of years. So we have guesses coming in already. So we have 14, 13, 15, 4th and 60 says 6th. Coach Walk 8th. Jace is 11. Gav is 28 to 32. That's messed up. MC3 Houdet says 7.
28 to 32 is just so disrespectful, man.
Jace is definitely not top 10. Well, the Lions, according to ESPN, are ranked number 7 on ESPN out of all the teams. Ahead of them are the 49ers, the Bills, the Broncos, the Rams, Patriots, and the Seahawks. So we'll talk about that. But for the Lions case, it says here, offseason in 3 words: retool offensive line. That is the offseason in 3 words. It says, after failing to reach the postseason, Lions need to focus on improving their offensive line, particularly in the interior. Dan Skipper announced his retirement in January, and it goes without saying that the unit wasn't up to par this season. Lions were 31st in pass block win rate, 55.5%, and could benefit from taking a guard in the early rounds of the 2026 draft. Wow, guard. Even all-pro tackle Penei Sewell admitted after the season that the unit wasn't completely in sync and will look to get its swagger back under new offensive coordinator Drew Petzing. They're ranked above the Eagles, the Jags, the Packers, the Bears, and the Chiefs.
Bears. So they're the number 1 NFC North ranked team heading into next year.
Yes. And they are in the NFC. They are 1, 2, 3. They're 4th.
3rd, right? Oh, 49ers.
No.
Didn't see the 49ers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So they are 4th in the NFC, number 1 in the NFC North. What do you number one? What do you think about that? Just NFC North. Do you think that's fair going into this season?
I do think it's fair. I think honestly, like obviously a healthy, and I know we complain all the time when people talk about the injuries, but a healthy Lions team, and if Brad, approaches his offseason and makes the moves that we feel like he's going to make, you could argue, I mean, obviously this Lions team bounces back and they're back at the top of the NFC North. And obviously the Bears won it, so obviously they're the rightful owners of that. But if you're actually breaking it down and being like, hey, who's the best team? I would still argue like it doesn't move from last year. I still think like this team, is the best built team in the NFC North. Yeah, are there question marks? For sure. And does Brad still have to fix the O-line? For sure. But I don't hate where they're at. They're a top 10 team in football. Like, I think from what's happened, and I saw a lot of people doing their early projections for like playoffs next year and stuff. And like a lot of people are leaving the Lions out and just going with the Packers, even some like the Vikings. It's just like, I think I don't want to say it's a good spot to be in, but I do think, Jeff, there are a lot of people who are forgetting what the Lions team's about because they missed the playoffs. And yeah, rightfully so, but I still like top to bottom, this Lions team is still stacked with all-pro players. Like you said, Jeff, like they had 6 all-pro players. Was it 6? I think it was 6, 5 or 6.
Yeah, they had two all-pros.
4, 2 and 2. 2 and 2?
Yep.
It's 2 and 2. They have 2 on each side. They have 6+ Pro Bowlers. Like they still have a stacked roster. So I mean, I would throw the Lions if I did a way too early power rankings, Jeff. I would have the Lions top 10, like without a question.
Yeah, based
off of the quarterback, I like the OC hire is good. Offense is still really good. Even with as bad as the offensive line is, man, it's still a good offense. And defensively, I think the defensive thing is a big deal, but I just can't see a world this team next year. You don't have a bounce. They're not going to miss the playoffs next year. I'll tell you that. There's just no way that they go back-to-back seasons missing the playoffs.
The only thing I would add, and you can disagree with this, that's fine. I would say I would put them. It's one. I'm not mad at essentially where they are. I would still put the Eagles in front of them. Because the Eagles have the same situation the Lions do, where they have to figure out their offensive coordinator. But at least they have a defensive coordinator, and they have a defense that they know is legit. The Lions, in the Lions case, you have a new OC, and you're going to figure out whether he's good or not. But you also have to figure out whether your DC is good or not. So I would argue the Eagles. I would put the Eagles above the Lions. I know ETN said the Packers. I would still take the Lions over the Packers heading in this year. I know it sounds crazy, but I just think the last couple of years, I know the Packers had a really good year this year, but this year I would take the Lions. I think they're the more talented team, and I think last year was just a disaster of a year in general. But I think the Lions are. Well, I mean, it'd be 8th in my opinion. It's not really a big difference, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
They're top 10. They're top 10, man. They are. I mean, you retool this O-line like ESPN puts here. You add some defensive pieces, and let's say Calvin Shepard can coach and be consistent all year, and Drew Petzing works out, then you have a really good team. You know what I mean? And you're going to have a 4th place schedule, so that obviously helps. You're going to win some games. But, yeah, I don't think it's like – I think there's overreactions to both sides. I think there's overreactions of people that are not worried at all, that are like, oh, everything's, sunshine and rainbows. And then there's overreactions of like, this team sucks now. I think you can't be too far on either side here. I think there's a middle ground where it's like, yeah, there's concerns, but they're still talented. I mean, like you said, they 4 all pros with injuries. I mean, typically on a year where all guys are healthy, you would have more all pros. I don't think they should have missed the playoffs, even with 4 all pros. I'll stand by that. But yeah, you'd have Kirby in there who'd probably be an all pro. And you could argue maybe if Jared Goff has an MVP type, you're like, there's more potential for more all pros. So yeah, I don't think I think there's 2 overreactive sides here when you talk about the Lions, and both sides are wrong. But yeah, I don't think this is far off at all.
No,
I'll take them over the Bears and Packers. I don't care, man. And you guys call me a Bears fan, but like, if we're being real here, Lions on a typical year, they are the best team in the NFC North on paper. Now, coaching's going to matter a lot. So, what does the coaching staff do with that roster is the big question. But yeah, I don't think this is this list is. And
there's going to be a lot of people too who are like, no, like they should be lower. But again, roster wise and what they have, and like, yeah, they had a down year. It is what it is. A lot of teams did too. The Chiefs did as well. Where are the Chiefs on that list?
They are 13. I believe.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that, actually. I'm not going to lie.
The Chiefs are no, they're 12th. Excuse me. They're 12th. I forgot Mahomes tore his ACL. Totally forgot about that.
So there is a question on like when is Mahomes going to be back? That's a really big question. I feel like, is he going to be back halfway through the year? Is he going to be back right away? Like,
the NFC North and the NFC West has like 6 teams in the top 10 or top 11. So those 2 divisions are stacked. I mean, there's not even a debate there. No doubt. All right, well, we're going to get to our mock draft Monday. Before we do, though, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. When we get back, we'll get into our mock drafts, and we'll do our first ever mock draft Monday of this year. We'll see you guys in a minute. I've interrupted the video to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper and the new promotion they have going on. A brand new promotion is now live on Sleeper that could be paired with the 100% deposit match promotion that's already been going on. It's a free $20, no deposit required, plus first-time users will also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the code CT Sports. You guys should already be using Sleeper. It's one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world with millions and millions of active users. They are crushing it. And if your state allows it, you should be using Sleeper Picks. It's a real money product that connects friends over picks. You just choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Don't forget, code CT Sports. Get a $100 deposit up to $100, and you got your free $20 entry. Sleeper is taking care of their customers. Always remember, gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the video. It's time for our first ever mock draft Monday of the 2026 NFL draft. This is my favorite time of the year. I said it before at the beginning of the show. Every Monday, we're doing our mock drafts. This is 1.0 for the boys. And then Fridays, we'll be bringing back our full first round mock draft. So Mondays, and then we're going to do, by the way, fan mock drafts as well. So stay tuned for that. You guys can submit your mock drafts. We'll tell you where to send those when we end up doing them. It's going to be very soon. So get your mock drafts ready. Start cooking now. Send your best ones to us, and we'll review them probably on Mock Draft Monday as well. So probably we'll start next Monday or something. We'll start rolling those babies out for fan mock drafts. And then Friday, we'll do our full first round. So a lot more draft coverage here on Crunch Time Sports. So subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. And if you're listening on any podcast platform, leave a 5-star review. I'll start with mine. I came out with my mock draft today. We'll get to Booner's next. I decided today, last year, typically I don't do trades on mock draft 1.0. This one I did. I did one trade. I traded back in the first round 2 picks, picked up another pick, and that's the route I went with today. So some weeks I'm not going to do trades. Some weeks Booner's not going to do trades. Some weeks Booner's going to trade. I'm going to trade. We're going to mix it up every week, different players, different situations. Because if we just drafted if we had the same approach every week, it would get boring. So we're doing different situations. We might even have a mock draft, or if the Lions take a quarterback in round 1. Who knows? Okay, we're just doing situations. And
some of the situations are very weird. I text you today. I don't think like people realize, oh, this is unrealistic. Like all of them could be unrealistic. We use PFF and we use the same setting for everyone, and it's like, you know what? I'll say this, Jeff, because mine's going to be unreal. People are going to be like, Booner, that's unrealistic. Anything can happen in the NFL draft. Like anything. We've seen players that were projected top 5 fall to like 30. We saw last year James Pierce fall to 28. We saw last year guys fall into the 3rd round that were supposed to be first-round picks.
Tyleek was a first-round pick. We never had him in the first round.
Mike Green was supposed to be a top 15 pick last year. No one thought he was going to be available for the Lions. He was available twice for the Lions last year. So just before we do these mock draft Mondays, this is our first one, obviously, of the year. I feel like we're one of the best in the game when it comes to draft coverage. Just know, like, hey, Jeff, this is unrealistic. Booner, this is unrealistic. Yeah, it might be, but you just don't know what happens. And I think PFF, I know we don't like their grading. I think their mock draft app or whatever they use is cool because you can actually, like, they make it to where it's so random, just like the NFL draft, where anything can happen, and you kind of got to be prepared. And when we do mock draft Monday, I sent it to you right away. It's one try. It's like your Brad Holmes on, draft clock starts, and it's like I'm not here doing 15 different drafts until I get the one that I love. I
Yeah.
turn the mock draft thing on. I sit down for about an hour and a half, and I act like I'm Brad Holmes in the room. And whatever falls to me, I have to do it. And that's why we get about 20 of them before the combine or the draft starts. I think it's pretty sweet the way it happens. So just so people know.
Yep.
Disclaimer.
I did one. You have to, it's important to do a disclaimer because when I was with Adam, I did one where I drafted Malik at number 2 as a situation if they drafted Malik, and someone like a year ago was like, "You drafted Malik." So you have to make sure it's clear. Like some of these are not like
whatever PFF throws at you. We it's our job to, and we use the same settings. Me and Jeff, we always the same settings on there. We don't move them. Nothing. I know some people can move them, so this guy falls or this guy. Like we don't move the settings. There's all these different setting changes you can make. We don't touch it. Nothing.
Yeah. Most of there might be one time where I try to get a little creative, but most of the time I'm gonna be truthful with you guys and tell you my the picks I like. So for me, we'll start off my mock draft looks like this. Okay, so I'll describe what I did in the first round here, so you guys can stay with me. At 17, I stood pat. There was some players that were falling, notably a guy like Proctor who was there. I decided not to take Proctor. At 17, I decided to trade back with a team that wanted Proctor, traded up 2 spots, I believe, with the Carolina Panthers to for them to land Caleb Proctor or whoever they wanted. They loved somebody. I traded back 2 spots. I picked up 83. I traded them this pick 17 and like a future pick as well. So I moved back a spot to pick up another pick in the top 83. So I can have another draft selection. So who I selected at 19 is Caleb Lomu, tackle out of Utah. We've talked a lot about on this show. I like Caleb Lomu a lot. He's got obviously the measurables. He's 6'5", 6'6", over 300 pounds, but don't let it fool you. He's athletic. He has the athleticism, the mobility that you look for in tackles. I mean, you got to be able to move your feet. You got to be athletic. And that's my worry with Proctor. He is an athletic freak, but his size, he's so big. I mean, he's like 350 pounds. He's 6'7". And I think some of that I'm worried about translating into the NFL. He's so intriguing, and we're going to learn a lot about him as we get closer to the combine, post-combine. But so far for 1.0, I took Caleb Lomu. I just think he's a surefire guy. He's on a lot of top 10 boards. I mentioned the athleticism, the technique. He's got great hand placement, a lot of things you look for. And again, a guy to be your anchor at left tackle. He's played a little bit at right tackle as well. So here's your Taylor Decker replacement. He's got a natural presence in the run game. He's a dominant run blocker. So I like a lot about, because if you have a tackle that is that athletic, you can get him out in space and do a lot with them. You see that with Panay. I'm not comparing the two players, but athletic tackles you can have some fun with. So Caleb Lomu is very interesting. There's other things that you look at weakness-wise. He needs a lot of, development in some areas, just like every guy does. So it's not anything to be concerned about. I think he's got the potential to be a long-term franchise tackle. So Caleb Lomu is someone I've been liking a lot. And he was there at 17. I traded back 2 spots and still landed Caleb Lomu, a player that I really like. So decided to go with him. And then on my board, I got a guy, and this is going to be, you'll see kind of guys on our boards here through the process where we start really liking. The guy I've liked a lot this process is Jake Slaughter, the center out of Florida. I love him. I think he's got a lot of things that you would love in a center, like a lot of things that you look for in a center to be your anchor for a while and play at a Pro Bowl level. He has the pass protection, elite pass protector. He allowed 1 sack in hundreds of pass blocking snaps. Again, another guy that plays with a lot of discipline, and another guy that not only was a team captain, but he has the IQ, very, very, very smart. You have to be to play center. Diagnosing pre-snap looks, he's calling protections, he's communicating different adjustments. It's the job of a center, and he can do that. So great at the point of attack. Like when you look at Jared, the thing you bring up with Jared is the IQ. He wants an offensive coordinator that's just as smart, or at least can match his intellect. Well, you need a center that can match his intellect too, and Jake Slaughter can do that. One of his best traits is his football IQ. He's in different pass and run schemes. So I think this is someone that, you got a new OC. You want someone that not only Jared can trust, but the offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, Dan Campbell can trust. I think Jake Slaughter is going to be that guy, dude. I really like Jake Slaughter. So I decided to go back-to-back offensive linemen. Now, people might disagree with that. I wanted to get my guy. So you mentioned being Brad in your own way. This is me being Brad. I was like, I can't. I had Jake Slaughter there, and I was like, man, I could take an edge here, but I don't want to risk losing out on Jake Slaughter. So I just pulled the trigger. I'm like, I'm just going to get Jake Slaughter. I get my guy. And for the next pick, I went edge. And this is someone that I actually am learning more about, and I actually really like him because you'll like him too, Boone, because he fills the production thing that you mention a lot, which we talk about, which is important.
Yeah.
Danny Dennis Sutton, the defensive end out of Penn State, he has the production. If you look at his career at Penn State, he's been productive every year. He had 8.5 sacks this year. He had 8.5 sacks last year. So he's had 17 sacks the last 2 years, played a lot of football. He has 2 picks in his career. By the way, 2 picks as well as a defensive end. He's 6'5", 270, has a lot of the length and size that I think Brad actually typically likes in defensive ends. Big, powerful, long wingspans, and he could play in different defensive fronts. So I like Danny Dennis Sutton. He's probably going to be a guy. He's probably around the 3rd round anyway. And, obviously technique can be worked on, fluidity can be worked on, but you can't teach size. You can't. The production's there. The pass rush win rate's there. So there's a lot of things you like out of a guy like that. And I think he could be a 3rd round kind of steal for the Lions. I address safety as well. Michael Taft, safety out of Texas. This one, I'm not sure if I'm in love with it or not. I think Flannel had him as well. He's going to be a safety that's talked about. He's white safeties. All right, let's talk about it. All right, Cooper DeJean, they're coming back. We got Michael Taft out of Texas. Someone commented and said he's like Dan Jackson. No, he's better than Dan Jackson. And no offense to Dan Jackson, but Michael Taft is a multi-year starter. He's productive every year, and he's really, really good in pass coverage, which is, give him a lot of credit. Got great instincts as a safety. Can play on special teams as well, no question. Played at the Senior Bowl, and he played against some quality receivers at the Senior Bowl. Like some really good receivers went out there, and he held his own. So I took Michael Taft as a safety there, so Lions can get some depth. At tight end, I drafted your guy, Tanner Koziol.
That's my guy. How about that?
Gotta love him. Production's there. Size is there. The contested catch ability, jump ball ability, tracks the ball well. He's 6'7", dude. He can jump over pretty much anyone that's guarding him. The run blocking stuff, we've already talked about. Like, that stuff you can work on with someone that big. And if you want an extra tight end in this offense with Drew Petzing, why not get a mid-round steal? I talked about the tight end, and someone commented in the chat, Sam Roosh. I really like Sam Roosh. He was gone at this point, so I couldn't take Sam Roosh. And I think Tanner Koziol is, like, to your credit, another great option. Mid-round tight end.
There's so many tight ends in this draft, dude.
A lot. There's a lot of tight ends.
You can name any tight end, and you're like, there's an argument that this is going to be like one of those classes where, like, in like 5 years, you're going to look back and be like, wow, there was like 4 or 5 in this class. They were very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. So I think tight end, there's going to be some really good tight ends coming out of this class. I went with the next pick, a linebacker, good old Mr. Bryce Botcher, linebacker out of Oregon. He's actually, you know what I like about him a lot, to be honest with you, and the thing that made me draft him when I was looking more into the player itself is his ability in pass coverage. That's what I think the Lions should be looking for, the athleticism and the instincts to not only play linebacker, but to cover in the NFL. I think that's something that, you should look for in a linebacker. Listen, Derek Barnes, he's just not great in pass coverage. And Bryce is someone who can play, in that type of situation and guard tight ends, or at least be capable enough to, and play special teams for you, which you're drafting late in the draft now. So you're going to need guys that can play special teams, and he can do that. So my next pick, I took another guy that I've liked through the process, a quarterback, which they should take one late in the draft anyway. And I took Sawyer Robinson, the quarterback out of Baylor. He's just got a lot of things you like in terms of like size, measurables. He's 6'4", got good arm talent. He's obviously not elite arm talent because he'd be not this late in the draft. The only thing I would say along a couple of things I mentioned is the accuracy, which he can definitely improve on. But he had the production at Baylor, and he's a good developmental quarterback. He's better. They should be developing a quarterback right now. And I think Sawyer Robertson, they can do that because he's got the NFL arm talent, maybe not the Mahomes arm talent, but he's got the pocket movement that people are obsessed with. He's mobile. He's not Lamar Jackson or he's not Josh Allen, but he's capable of moving in the pocket and scrambling to get a first down. So he can extend plays, which I think people are looking for. Really good under pressure. So I like Sawyer Robinson a lot. Can't wait to watch him at the combine. And then I took in this draft as well a running back. I took who I think actually might be a steal, to be honest, Jamal Haynes.
Jamal Haynes that late, yeah, he's a good running back.
Jamal Haynes, running back out of Georgia Tech, productive, explosive, big playmaker. Had some long runs, and he's someone that I think you bring in. He's Georgia Tech. It's where Jahmyr Gibbs is from, and he hasn't had a year like he did his freshman year, but he's been really good. And he's had the yards per carry. He's got the receiving ability. And if you want to take another running back in that room, man, again, he can play some special teams for you, but also in case there's an injury, he can come in and play for you. So I actually think an underrated position, not that they need to address it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do, is just take a running back at some point. Just late, like last pick in the draft. Maybe they just take a running back that can play special teams for you. They got rid of Craig. They had maybe like as a returner as well. Jamal Haynes can do that. If you need him to. I don't think he has experience doing it, but again, he's explosive, so maybe something he can be taught. But this is my draft. I decided to go with. There's also another pick in here I couldn't fit on the page. There's a lot of picks. So
you had another pick?
Yeah, I did. I decided to not put that in there because I couldn't fit it. But it's basically the cornerback out of Iowa, TJ Hall. So I took a corner.
Did you make a trade?
No, it was from the first trade. I just kept.
Oh, you traded back, added a pick. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize.
No,
I
didn't want it. It was too many picks, but these are the picks I wanted to mention. There's
the kid out of Iowa's not that bad though. Like he's a good late pickup with an opportunity of finding something.
So this is what I went with. I think if you want to critique it and say, hey, I would like an edge earlier, that's fine. I think that would be something or you want a different safety, that's fine. I think my takeaway, my big thing I was mentioning today is if you want to critique the players, fine. But I think position-wise, these are the positions. Like the first 3 rounds should look like that. Maybe a different order if you want to argue, but that's the 3 positions you should be prioritizing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Or I guess I kind of did in mine a little bit.
So you guys,
but I like this
for this one.
Yeah, drop your grade. I like this one. I don't think it's that bad. Like I think Caleb's going to be a solid. He's going to be an interesting one for me.
Actually, he might be my favorite tackle out of Utah. I know they have Spencer Fanu. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's a really good right tackle. But I like Caleb Lomu. Really, he's really good. So I think he's someone to watch out for. A lot of tackles in that first round, man.
It's a lot, yeah. If you could trade back even farther. To be honest, though, I think you could, like with Caleb Lomu, I think he's the third. I think he's rated behind Spencer. Am I wrong or no?
I've seen some where he's above him. It's like they go back and forth because I've seen some where they have Caleb as a top 10 player. So I don't know. It depends on. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. Maybe there's a lot that they would put Spencer ahead of him. I don't know. I like Caleb because Caleb, I think, took.
Yeah,
I think
I think what
was a left tackle, and Caleb took that.
My thing is, with this, the only thing I would say, I think Caleb Lamu or Lomu, whatever how you pronounce it, we'll figure that out. I think you could trade farther back and land him. Like I don't think at 19 or 15, whatever it is. I think you can get him at back end of the 20s, 26, 27. Like I don't think I mean, who knows what happens at the combine? As of right now, though, it feels like that's a guy who potentially you could get a steal on if you trade back. Now, obviously, you have to if you really, really like him, you don't want him. It's like the thing with Ty Leak last year. Where it's like if you really like him, but I mean, he could, dude. In the next his draft process, he could move up and be a top 10 player. Like I think he is that good. Me and you actually have talked about him a couple when we first started talking about tackles. But if you had to pick a Utah tackle that falls, it's probably him. He's going to be the one that falls.
Yeah, agreed there.
And people are saying no. Maybe I could be wrong again. I think he's a good player. I like the pick. I'm just from what I've seen so far. I've seen him fall in some mock drafts. I have.
Yeah, it's tough. Like we talked about before, we really don't know where any of these guys are. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And you try and base it off like the guy, like the experts that are like literally like having conversations with people, like you know what I mean, the Albert Breers and the Todd McShays, and based off those, and you try and see, get as close of a thought that you can. You just never know though. Mine's going to be the most unrealistic of the year because I don't know how it happened, but I got probably the biggest steal of all time at the Lions pick.
Well, when you texted me, I was like, I definitely know. I agree with you. It's probably.
I texted you, I said, should I even do this or should I redo
but
it?
I was like, dude, why not? Because we should cover everything because you never know, dude. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I think this guy, the guy I got, I think he's a lock for a top 5 pick. That's why I was like, I was like, I feel dirty. I feel dirty doing this mock draft. Like for this to be mock draft 1.0 and for it to come out the way it did, I'm like, I feel dirty. Like I don't know if I want to show the people this. I don't know if I want to do that. That's why I texted you right away. I was like, dude, should I do it? And you said, yeah, do it.
All right, talk to me then, Boone. How did the hell did Francis Mauigoa fell to 17?
Francis Mauigoa at 17th overall.
Him and Panay would feed families for generations.
Would be the greatest. Like if someone would ever fall in the draft, you would look up at the football gods and just be like, thank you. We owe you our lives. Like if he falls, that's a sign for like, this is about to be the greatest year of all time for the Detroit Lions. Like we're winning a Super Bowl. And obviously if this happens, you would probably move Penei Sewell to left tackle and you throw Francis Mauigoa at right tackle. And you have probably the best tackle duo in the NFL. Like the thing with this dude, bro, every comp that I've seen and every time I watch him, every comp goes, this guy's a fridge. And then when I watch him, I go, he's a fridge. And I'm not talking like a small fridge, like growing up, before fridges really got good. You're talking about a fridge, one of these new industrial fridges that have double doors. It has like a massive freezer. And you go, oh my gosh. Like, and any time, dude, every single time I watched him today go up against City, no one gets by this dude. And it's not even like, hey, one of the best edge rushers in the country is going to try and go up against Francis Mauigoa. They're going to get a little bit of this guy plants his feet into the ground and he doesn't move. It's like he's got stakes in the ground that go 10 feet in and he's like, you're not moving me. Like you're sitting right here and I'm going to let my boy Carson Beck do whatever he wants back there. I don't think he's going to even come close to 17. He's going to be a top 5 pick. This was like PFF being like, here, have a good first mock draft 1.0, Booner. Here you go. And I was like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I guess I'll take it. But yeah, Francis Mauigoa goes 17th overall to the Detroit Lions.
Sick, dude.
That
would be so sick.
It would be unreal.
Either way, if they just got him, it'd be sick.
50 overall, Jeff, Derek Moore, obviously edge out of Michigan. This is like, and if I'm going to, honestly, if I'm going to be like, hey, you have to move on from AQM. I don't know if Derek Moore is going to give you AQM production right away, but you talk about a guy who's just really not like the greatest run stopper, right? Honestly, Jeff, Derek Moore's just a pure edge. Do you know what I mean? He's legit just a pure edge. Like he's got all the bend you want. He's got the speed. He also like typically like when you have a guy like, with the speed and the bend, you're like, oh, maybe the power's not there. He has the strength and the power to get after. He had double-digit sacks. He was just a guy like, I think the only knock on him is obviously he's a little, undersized because he's a pure edge just to get after it, dude. So the run game is a little but also he was kind of a little inconsistent at Michigan. You know what I mean? And I think Flannel brought it up a couple weeks ago, or someone brought it up when we were talking about him at the Senior Bowl. And that was something with him at Michigan where you kind of just forget a little bit, like he's on the field, and then boom, Derek Moore makes a play, and you're like, whoa, wait a second. Yeah. And he has that, but I think like when you get to the Lions and you get surrounded by the right pieces, he's there with Hutch. And you're there with an elite D line. It's hard for you to kind of, you have to go every single play, and you have to bring it. And I think this is a guy, if he gets consistent, he'll be a lethal edge rusher. And if you do have to move on from AQM, this is a guy that has a high ceiling that can come in and try and get you, a little bit of production with that. Obviously, you maybe bring another edge in free agency. I don't know if you don't go edge in the first round, like you might not find a guy that's going to come in and fully replace AQM. But you want to try and make that up with what what you have or what you get in free agency, or with Levi O and those guys. You want a rotational piece. He would be a really good rotational piece, a guy who can step in right away and get you something, right? 118, my third pick. I wasn't fully familiar with Joe Royer, Jeff, until this morning. And we kept talking about all these tight ends. And this is a guy, let me tell you something. I'm not going to compare this guy to Travis Kelce, but he broke Travis Kelce's reception record in 2024 with 50-plus catches, over 500 yards at Cincinnati. I had it here. If you guys want a size for the guy, 6'5", 250. He transferred from Ohio State, Jeff. Transferred from Ohio State last year in 2024, after his 2024 season, 50 catches, 500 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns. Could have came out into the draft last year. Got invited to all those different bowl games at the end of the year, the East-West Shrine Bowl. Got invited, decided to go back to Cincinnati. He probably could have been, top 150 pick last year. And from what I read and what I saw, Joy Royer wanted to go back so he could come back to the draft this year and be one of the top tight ends taken. Didn't have as big of a year, but when you talk about like ceiling and potential, like you're trying to bring a guy in to come behind Sam Laporta and make plays and kind of learn from Sam Laporta. Perfect tight end to come in and learn from Sam Laporta. Elite catcher, elite hands, elite route runner, create separation. He's fast. Just go watch some of his highlights. He's that tight end. He's the Sam Laporta tight end. And it's the same thing with Sam Laporta, and it's the same thing with the tight end that I had given you from Houston that I brought up a couple weeks ago. The only thing is the run blocking that he needs to work on. Again, that's something that Sam Laporta had to really focus in on after year one. You know what I mean? That's something he had to learn. And it's the same thing with Joe Royer that he's going to have to learn. And you have Laporta to do that, and then you can let Joe Royer kind of, learn from Sam, learn from the tight ends coach, and get rolling with that. 155. You went to the center out of Florida, Jeff. Pat Coogan. I'll tell you what.
He's a beast, dude.
I have not heard Pat Coogan's name once so far in this draft process. He didn't go to the Senior Bowl because they just won a national championship. So he was like, I want some time off. I heard him do an interview, and he was like, I want to just take some time off. I need to take a break. This guy, back-to-back seasons, he was the center for Notre Dame when they went to the national championship. He was the left guard for Notre Dame. And I believe, who was the center at Notre Dame a couple years ago? Was it, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, no. He was playing with, wasn't Joe Alt Notre Dame?
Yes.
He was side by side with Joe Alt 2 or 3 years ago, and they were locked down. And then the next year he moves to center. He's the center for Notre Dame when they go to the national championship. This last year he transfers to Indiana instead of going to the draft, and he ends up winning a national championship as the starting center. Not only is he just hey, dude's a good center. This guy was the MVP, Jeff, at the Rose Bowl. Have you never seen an offensive lineman be an MVP for any sort of bowl game? Nothing. He was the MVP for the Indiana Hoosiers at the Rose Bowl. I was like, all right, I want to go look at his measurements. Like, where does he measure compared to, elite centers in the NFL? This guy has the exact same. I know they haven't done the combine yet, Jeff. So we're like, these are measurements that they've thrown in maybe, different pro days. If he did it last year, if he participated online, he's listed the exact same measurements as Frank Ragnow. The exact same measurements.
Wow.
The exact same. He's played, someone put in the chat there, AG's Bernie, he's played a ton of football. And you talked about IQ with the kid from Florida. This is one of the best IQ centers in this draft. He's played so much football at 2 elite schools, two national championship appearances. Pat Coogan would be I think it would be a home run. And if you're like, hey, let's wait till round 3, round 4 to get a center, Pat Coogan would be the guy. And he's a Dan Campbell type of dude, man. He really is. 180. I don't know what round that is. I'm not good with math here, so I don't know what round we're on. I think we're round 4 right now, or 5. I don't know if you've heard of Bishop Fitzgerald, Jeff, safety out of USC. He was a JUCO transfer. I think he went to NC State for a couple years, and then he transferred to USC. He has dealt with some injuries. Like this last year, he had a little bit of a knee issue, but he played in 10 of the 12 games this last year, Jeff. Led the Big Ten in interceptions, if that reminds you guys of anyone. Kirby Joseph. Second in the nation in interceptions. He's a little small, so that could be an issue. But if you're like, I think when you start to look at safeties in this year's draft, or even corners, you do have to start looking at, hey, what if Kirby isn't good? What if Brian Branch isn't good? You got to find similar, in my opinion, find similar guys like the Bishop Fitzgerald. Might not have the size as Kirby, but he's a ball hawk, man. A ball hawk safety. and he has a knack for the ball, dude. And that's kind of what you want. If you want a guy to back up Kirby Joseph, what was something this last year, Jeff, when Kirby went down, we just kept saying we're missing someone that just has an eye for the ball, man. Like, that's a game changer.
Yep.
This is a kid that can do that. And one of the things that I read about him was like they have to like pull him away from watching film. Like, he watches too much film. Too much film. I've never heard that in a draft like this guy, he's around the film. He's around film too much. I love it, dude. That's what I want to hear. Just a dude that wants to work hard. He's a ball hawk. And listen, he's a little undersized. That's never hurt anyone in the NFL. We talk about that all the time, especially in the secondary. If you're a dog, dude, especially at the safety position.
USC's put out some good safeties, man. Caleb Bullock from the Texans was at USC. So he was obviously a more highly rated prospect, but still, like, he could be, 5 picks this year. He has like 9 in his career. He's productive, dude. Productive player.
And then I did quarterback 187 again. I think I'm going to do quarterback a lot of these mock draft Mondays, Jeff. And it might be a different one every time. Jalen Daniels. I think everyone knows who Jalen Daniels is out of Kansas. He played like 6 years there. I've watched a lot of Jalen Daniels football. I've bet on him a lot. I've lost money on Jalen Daniels. He's a versatile quarterback, athletic. He could sling it. He's played a lot of football. It's just really one of those things. He's a little older because he's played a lot of football at Kansas. He was there forever. But it's just another guy you kind of just take a shot on to see what can happen. Whoever's left, you just kind of roll with that.
Metal guy. That's
the guy that you took, I would like him. There's a couple other quarterbacks in this class where you look like deep into the draft class or deep into the draft. You're like, we can take a shot at him. So Jalen Daniels was the best on the board at that time. 204. I don't know how to pronounce his name. This is your guy too, Bryce Botcher. I know you picked him as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's going so late. He feels like I was watching film on him this morning when I did this. It's shocking that he's like falling as far as he is. I know he's like a little undersized. He's a little smaller, but when you watch his film, like, dude, he is a demon. He was, if for people didn't know too, at the Senior Bowl, there was the player, the linebacker that got in a fight with his own teammate because pregame they were doing drills and he knocked him down. He like fully trucked them. That was Bryce Botcher, dude. Like, he's just an absolute, he's an animal. Like, he's just like, he just knows football. And by the way, I don't know, the fun fact about him, he got drafted top 15 in the MLB draft last year.
Really?
He's a baseball player too.
Oh my, yeah.
So he's going to have to choose. And you would think that if he wasn't playing baseball and he just focused on being a linebacker for the Oregon Ducks in his last few years, you might think this dude's would have been way higher on the board. And he produced at Oregon too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He produced. And then the last dude here, this is all right. When we get to the end of these are just guys. Hey, we got to find some dudes in the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, play special teams for you. That's really what you're looking for.
Traden Strooks out of Arizona, Jeff.
Oh, you sound like Klotz.
I'm telling you.
Traden Strooks.
Something that I've really fallen in love with in the game of football over the last few years is I love bigger corners, like 6'2", 6'3". Like, give me bigger, like Christian Gonzalez types. You know what I mean? Like, give me a bigger corner that's fast, athletic. Traden Strooks. I'm telling you, we have a meek and Traden Strooks. He's going to be a nickel in the NFL. And you look at like a Kyle Hamilton. I'm not going to say look, I have him at 222 overall. But you look at like a Kyle Hamilton who's a safety but plays in the nickel sometimes, moves around. This is a straight Traden Strooks, man. And in 2025, this guy had 4 interceptions, Jeff. 6 package breakups I had written down here. And I watched some of his stuff this morning, and people are in there like, oh, Booner, you're watching film the day. Yeah, that's what we do. We're finding dudes. There's hundreds of guys in this draft. When I watched this film, he made a play, Jeff, and I don't want to pull it out. I don't want to get dinged for copyright. Do you remember that play last night that Christian Gonzalez over the top dove out of nowhere? Traden Strooks, the very first play I see him make in the slot, running downfield, with a wide receiver. The Arizona State wide receiver, by the way, that's going to go like top 20, I believe it was. He gets beat right away, which, yeah, not the best, but his closing speed and his recovery speed, unbelievable. He recovers to the guy, just all out dives, pass breakup. And then the next one, it was the same exact play, all out dives, interception. And I said right away, I'm all in on this dude. Like, if you lose a Meek Robertson, I know he's 222 overall. This is a guy that you're like, hey, we could trust this guy in the nickel if we need to. We could trust this guy in the nickel. Give him a little time to learn a little bit of NFL ball, and he's going to ball. Like, if the Lions don't get him, just remember this name right here. I want the people to remember his name, because then in 2 years you're going to say, Drayton Stukes, like, he's playing in the Super Bowl for a team. Where did this kid come from? Arizona, and he came from Booner's mock draft 1.0.
Wow.
I like him, dude. I'll send you some film on him.
He was a walk-on, Jay just said, too. The walk-on story, too, man.
He's good, dude. He's a good player.
By the way, real quick, the Pistons are up 6 with 2 seconds left, so they just locked up that win. They still won. Good thing. Drop your grades for Booner's draft. I like it. I really do. I mean, Francis obviously makes his thing in A, but let's just I know you were saying earlier it feels dirty taking him, but Derek Moore, you got an edge at 50, tight end at 118, 155. You were able to get Pat Coogan, who's a really good center. So it's like, okay, even if you took a tight end before him, you still landed a really good center. Bishop Fitzgerald, dress safety, Jalen Daniels. Okay. Even if you don't like the quarterback, you still took a quarterback to develop. I love that. Bryce, another linebacker, Trayton Stukes, corner. I like it. I think it's a really good mock. I think 1.0s today were on point. I think we addressed all the positions in need. Not that you just drafted for need, but it just so happened that very talented football players are there that fit needs. So it ended up working out. So drop your ratings. Michael says B+. Not a big Moore guy. Apparently the Michigan man. And now people not a fan of Derek Moore. I haven't watched. I got to dive into more Derek Moore because he had 10 sacks this year at Michigan. I don't know.
Like a quiet 10.
Yeah, I gotta go see. I gotta go watch some more Derek Moore. I do. He's 6'3", 260. I gotta go dive into his film a little bit because I don't know. I really don't know too much about him. I don't. And there's people in the chat aren't a fan of him. I really don't know. I mean, the production's there. You said let me see this. He can defend the run. Not as good of a run defender, but a really good pass rusher this year.
Yeah, he's not like the biggest edge, but
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Moore had 10 sacks.
Nick said C-. I feel like this can't be a C- draft.
Yeah, if you think Francis Maui Goa makes it a C-, I don't know.
C- is insane.
Yeah, that's dude. Because Francis, everything you described, I think you had a perfect opening statement on Francis Mauigoa. He has 10-foot stakes in the ground and can't be moved.
And he's a fridge. He's an industrial size fridge.
Yeah, he is 6'6", 340. To have two Samoan tackles would be. Are they just like? They're just pumping out tackles over there, dude. What's going on? These guys are. Francis Mauigoa is going to be one of the best in the NFL. Like he just feels like this guy's a can't miss guy. He's an All-American. I don't know what you want out of the guy. I already see people posting the you know how they did that with Laramie Tunsil had the gas master in the draft. I saw some guy put Francis Mauigoa like AI with a gas mask on, trying to make him fall.
Oh, bro, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, we got to start doing some shit to make him fall, dude. Is he really top 5? Is that where he's going? I know he's like high in the
he's going to be top 5. Yeah, no, he's going to be top 5. I mean, I would think like he's going to be the number 1 tackle off the board. I even think the Spencer kid from Utah has a chance to be that high as well.
Yeah, because you have. Let me see. Yeah, Spencer Fanu. We have Francis. I mean, look at the teams that pick. You have Arizona. They could probably draft a tackle. Who knows? Jets, no. Titans, they could draft a tackle. Browns, They could draft a tackle. Saints, Chiefs, Bengals. Like, yeah, there's a lot of offensive line needy teams.
Yep.
Dolphins at 11. Rams at 13. Yeah.
Daniel Jeremiah's first mock of the year. He had Spencer Fondu going third, and he had Francis Mabagoa going fourth. He had both of them in the top 5.
Yeah.
And then the next tackle off the board is I'm past. I'm in the 20s already. Caden Proctor at 24 is the next tackle off the board. Monroe Freeling from Georgia, he's 28th. Blake Miller, Clemson, 29th. Caleb Lomu, 31 to the Patriots. So like there's a little bit of a. It's interesting just looking at other mocks after kind of going through these, dude. It really is. Here's another one has Francis going 5th overall.
Yeah, like this one, Sonny Styles is at 12th, but then I've seen some where he's really high. Arvell Reese actually is he's number 2 in this one. Arvell Reese is going to go really high. Both those players from Ohio State are going to go pretty high, dude. They're both good players. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, there's going to be like 4 Ohio State players in the top like 13.
Yeah, Caleb Downs.
You got Tate. Downs. Reese. Styles. I mean, come on, dude. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. The big thing I'm curious about is if the Lions try and trade up for one of these guys, or not that you could trade up for those guys, but just in general, if some guy's falling, or they just stay put, because you could probably get Caleb Lomu if you trade back, but like if like Fanu or one of those guys fall, like would you be willing to move up like 7 picks to get one of those guys? I mean, I would say F it if you think they're great, but I don't know.
Did you see too today that I think Schefter reported it that because you're only allowed to trade draft picks 3 years out. Did you see that the owners and front office, everyone they're trying to they might try and do a rule change. I don't know if they're probably gonna try and do it this offseason. So I don't know if it would work for this draft or it'd be next year's or how that would work, the timing of it. But they want to make it to where it's 5 years instead of 3. So you can trade picks from 5 years out instead of 3 years out.
Yeah, because if you trade away a great player, you can now ask for more first.
Yeah. Or if you want to trade, for someone like the Lions, you know what I mean? Like if you're trying to, you just used all those 3rd round picks to trade for Isaac Tesla. Now you're like, we don't have trade assets. If you do 5 years out, you have 2 more years of trade assets to go out. Like if you want to trade up this year, now you have some more assets to work with.
Yeah, I think it's a good rule. I think the NBA,
if you want to trade for Max Crosby, you can trade a 1st round pick in 5 years for him.
Yeah, I think the NBA has that where you can trade whatever you want. I mean, I don't know. The NFL doesn't. It's only a couple years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. Twisted Squat Cobbler. What a name. Defense and running game wins chips. Yep. And coaching. Don't forget that. Xavier says, shout out Duncan Robinson, 18 points and only 3 3-pointers on 8 for 10. Or 1 3-pointer on 8 for 10 shooting.
I'll say this, dude. I had a free $50 bet, and I had to do $50 on the line. Like, I couldn't go under or more. And I did Asar Thompson, 20 points, rebounds, and assists. And Cade, 8 assists, and neither one hit.
That was your bonus bet from what? The
Super Bowl yesterday. I had one. It was like they do, like DK does. Like if you do a live bet, you get put in a pool and you get like a random prize. My random prize was $150 bet, and I did it on that, and it lost.
Could you put it like just on the Pistons to win? Everybody would have.
I could have gone money line, yeah, but they were like minus something, so it wasn't like I could have
like $25 or something, $20.
Yeah, so I tried to get like a plus 100, so I could just make the 50 back, just get the 50 because it was a free 50. I was like, because you can't cash it out because it's a bonus.
Yeah.
So you have to make it before that. So I kind of got screwed there. I thought I was going to be good too because everyone got ejected at like the start of the 3rd quarter. So I was like, Asar is easily going to, and there's no way. Cade was at 5 assists when all those ejections happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. By the way, shout out Blitzing Lion. Thank you for the $2. He says, what if Shep's defense prevents us from winning a Super Bowl? Well, that's on Dan Campbell if that's the case. If his defense prevents you from winning a Super Bowl, if that happens, then yeah. I mean, Dan kept him and Shep gets fired.
Did you see Aubrey Pleasant
taking DC interviews?
Yeah. It's so interesting to me how he just didn't work out in Detroit, and all of a sudden he's like a DC candidate.
I'm telling you, man, whoever runs this secondary, it's a job you're going to get fired. It's just how it works. I mean, because they're going to blame you. Like Deshae Tonstead, he's on the hot seat apparently. Not that by the Lions, but people are saying he should be fired. Dre Bly got fired. Aubrey Pleasant got fired, and then went to the Rams, and now he's a defensive coordinator guy that people want to interview. It's like, all right, just how it goes. I don't know. I really don't. But just didn't work out. But we'll see. A lot of teams like him.
So we mailbag, but our thing's broken. Like
I'm on YouTube. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
I don't know whatever's going on. Dom says, Mailbag Booner, should we trade our number 1 and number 2 receivers for defense based on what you said earlier? Goff would be able to overcome like Darnold with an average supporting cast. All right, we can't do that.
Dom might be the worst person of all time in the chat. He has no clue what he's talking about. I've said for a million times that Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl. Like, you make no sense, Dom. You might be like, I've never blocked anyone in the chat. He might be the first one to get fully blocked by Crunch Time Sports. He's the worst. He has no dude. He's
Dom, you can't be serious with that take, Dom.
That's the dumbest thing of all time. I don't think Dom actually knows football. I just don't think he knows. I love Dom too. He's probably a great dude. Dom, I love you, but I don't know why you're trying to. Makes no sense.
Dom, I just don't know how. Like,
how do you get that out of what we've talked about all day?
Well, even like the
Just
Sam,
trying to
I don't
have an
understand
argument.
how you think Sam Darnold's like a top 5 quarter. I just don't understand. Or like he's that good. He's better than Goff.
And,
Like, it's like,
why is Dom arguing that you don't need a defense to win? Like, that's basically his argument, is that you don't need a defense. Like, a defense doesn't matter. Like, all we're saying is you have to have a good defense to win. Like, it has nothing. Like, Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl, dude. I've been one of the biggest Jared Goff guys, and you can ask anyone else in the chat. I've maybe too big of a Jared Goff guy, but you need a defense. Like, I don't know how you're like misinterpreting. It's not something crazy that we're saying. Jared can win a Super Bowl, but you also need a defense to do it.
he says, love the back and forth, Boone. All love.
It is all love, but man, it makes me so mad sometimes. We should sit in like a room, and I can just walk you through film. Like, we could sit in like a quarterback's room and be like, all right, here we go. This is football.
Xavier Mailbag, out of all the Crunch Time boys, who's gonna eat the last piece of pizza?
Well, yesterday I did.
You ate the last piece of pizza.
Yeah, but I always ask, like, hey, does anyone want this?
Yeah, I feel I would ask too. I think that's just, if you're just a guy that goes in and eats it, that's a douche.
I think there's one. I think Klotz is a guy that would just go in and eat it out of our crew. I've seen Klotz just go to town and just like,
or Gentry. Don't sleep
or
on
Gentry, yeah. And you're just like, where's the pizza go?
Jack the piece and not even.
Yeah, we're like, is there pizza left? And then like Klotz would be like, no, and he like ate like 4 pieces.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I love Klotz too. He's the best. But
it's between those two. I can see that for sure. I think the responsible thing to do would be like, hey, anyone gonna eat this piece of pizza? And then you're like, all right, I'm going in. That's all.
When we get pizza, sometimes it's like, hey, we got this many slices. Each person gets like 2 slices, and if like you don't eat your slice fast enough, some of the boys will just eat until they're full, and then you're like, oh man, like there's no pizza left. Like,
yeah, those people. The pizza was so good yesterday, dude. The wings.
I love that pizza, dude. It's the best.
I had so much pizza, wings.
Desserts yesterday. It was a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. Even though the game, like, what'd you think of just last, like, thoughts on just the game? We didn't really talk about it. Just overall, the Super Bowl.
It was the worst Super Bowl of my life, dude.
Okay. Like, I'm saying, not even, like, game, halftime, experience.
Everything was bad. Honestly, I don't even care about halftime. Like, I heard Big Cat say it today, and honestly, I don't even care. Like, he was like, for people who watch football, halftime's like the last thing we're worried. Like, I just do not care about the halftime show. And it has nothing to do with like Bad Bunny. Like, even like last year, Kendrick was good. I just really didn't want, like, I don't remember most halftime shows, Super Bowl halftime shows, because I'm just watching football.
Usually, I mean, I'm not really locking into a halftime show typically anyway.
So that doesn't faze me based off of my.
So I just kind of let the public.
I do like the commercials usually, and the commercials this year felt a little underwhelming.
Yeah, there was a couple good commercials, but it wasn't like it wasn't like it usually is. So I'm kind of with you on that. It was just kind of a bad experience in general. The game sucked. Yeah, it was just bad. I think the reason why, I think a theory on that, why, because Etienne just said it lacked aura. He says game was bad. It just didn't feel like a Super Bowl. Etienne says. I think the reasoning for that was there wasn't a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford. There wasn't like a quarterback like that in the Super Bowl. So I think it lacks some of that. There wasn't really a lot of storyline. I mean, I guess there was with like Sam Darnold, but Matthew in there. If it was like Matthew, Josh Allen, dude, people would be saying that. It'd be like, oh my gosh, too exciting. Yeah. It's always quarterbacks you're looking at. Drake May looked like ass, and then Sam Darnold's not great. So it's like,
I think if you go into a Super Bowl and it's like not that much hype, but the game ends up being really good, you forget about that. But I think the fact that like it was a weirder matchup, and then on top of like I was showing like people today. Like for me, the reason it was so bad was I was the only one in the building on the Patriots, and for 3 quarters they just did not. They punted for 3 quarters, so it's like the most boring football game of all time. So even for people like I understand, like this is where my brain went today. Like I understand like with the halftime show, like the NFL every year when they do these halftime shows, they're trying to bring new viewership into the NFL and football. So like they had a kind of a unique viewership from the halftime this year, and it was like all these new people watching the NFL and watching the Super Bowl. No one like if that was your first experience of football or the NFL, like you're never watching again. So it sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like the NFL tried to like spread the game a little bit with the halftime they did. And then it was like the worst game of football of all time. It was like, well, that's
why like the script thing is funny. Cause that was not the script. The Roger Goodell wanted, if there was a script.
He was probably so mad at it.
You didn't want to see that. That was disgusting. I mean, there are people that enjoy defensive games, but marketability, that was bad. Like, if you're just tuning in, like you said, to football for the first time, like even for me, like I watch the World Cup. I'm not big into soccer. I'm not. But if I tune into a soccer game where I'm watching something for the first time and it's like 1-0 at the end, there might be fans that enjoy that. But I would like to see a 4-3 game. Like I want to see more. As someone who's watching something for the first time, you want to see just like the UFC. Like, it's a perfect example. When we watch the UFC fights, and there's people that just watch, like, we love the UFC. I've been watching the UFC for a long time. I love combat sports. Yeah. There's fights that happen that there's no knockout, and it's a great fight because it's like you kind of look at it a different way. But there's people that just go to bars and want to watch fights. They want to see knockouts. Yeah. They just want to see knockouts. Like, I think that's the Super Bowl, like what you're saying. It's like they don't want to watch some defensive, ugly, grimy game. They want to watch 2 great quarterbacks go at it and a lot of points. Like, just how it is.
Someone asked in the chat. Our chat's broken, so I can't remember. I can't see here who it was. But someone asked, who would you want to see perform next year at the halftime show? I looked at the odds. Someone put odds out. I think FanDuel put odds out for it. I actually like the top picks for it. I don't hate it. Who is it? Miley Cyrus is up there. I'm a Miley Cyrus fan. I'm in on that. Taylor Swift is up there. I know people don't like that. I would like Taylor Swift to be a good one. Justin Bieber's at the top. I wouldn't hate a Justin Bieber one.
Yeah, like you said,
Cardi B is up there. I wouldn't hate that either. I wouldn't hate that because like Cardi B would just bring out a bunch of other artists as well. A lot of these names, like Justin Bieber, would bring out a bunch of people. I feel
but Justin Bieber's actually very talented.
Oh, dude, I would love a Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber one next year. That would be elite, dude. I've been waiting for one.
You want to attract the young girls that want to get into football. Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, she's going to do it eventually, and I think like if Travis Kelce plays one more year, I think she's going to do it just to hope maybe have an opportunity to him in the Super Bowl or like that would definitely be.
Yeah.
I would love, who I would love to see? Jeezy. No, I'm kidding. I would love to see Jeezy. He would never get it, I bet, because I don't know if he's as big as but I would love to see Lil Wayne. I think Lil Wayne would be such a good one.
Oh my gosh.
And they screwed him last year. They screwed him last year because I think Jay-Z's a part of the crew to pick it. They picked Kendrick because of all the stuff that it was in his hometown. And Lil Wayne even was dude, Lil Wayne was mad about it because he wanted to do it in New Orleans and they didn't offer it to him. Lil Wayne would be such a good halftime show.
Put in here, Chris Brown will be really good too.
Chris Brown would be a good one, dude. That's why I would I don't care about the halftime show, but someone that I grew up listening to, I think would be so sick. Justin Bieber or Chris Brown or something would be a Lil Wayne. It'd be sick. I don't even care. He said don't say Drake either.
I would love Drake.
Drake would be a good one.
That would be a selfish pick, but
for sure.
Appreciate you guys, man. Good show today. We'll be back tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and continue to support. Check out our new videos we posted today. We post every single day, so watch them. Watch our content like you guys always do. We'll catch you tomorrow, 8 p.m. But until then, peace.